Dr. Brandon. What a pleasure to see you.
Oh, you too, Dr. Morgentaler.
So we have a serious topic today.
We do.
Yeah. Why don't you tell the audience what we've got?
So this is an article that came out last year about sextortion.
Sextortion.
Yeah. Sextortion, which is scammers taking advantage of, particularly this article was looking at younger teens, but also men in general, by sort of eliciting dick pics and then requiring, demanding money, Bitcoin, whatever, non-traceable things, like also gift cards are one of them.
So they're fooling these men or young men.
Yeah.
Into sending explicit photographs of their stuff.
Yeah.
Before we start, a small disclaimer. The Sex Doctors podcast is not a substitute for medical or psychological advice.
As a urologist, that's a very technical term stuff.
Yes.
And then they threaten that they're going to reveal it, call the school,
send
show
the photo
send photos
school,
to whoever, right?
Right.
Unless you send me money, gift cards, whatever.
Right.
Sextortion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so young boys in particular are at risk for this. And what happens is these scammers will present themselves as young women, young girls, and develop a relationship with them.
Yeah.
So they'll know this scammer over a period of weeks, and they'll have had, sort of intimate conversation.
Right.
And they feel like they know who this is.
Right.
Because the scammer has sent pictures of himself as this young
Right.
woman.
And presumably it's a flirtation.
Right.
Right. And the scammer may well, I think you just said this, the scammer may well have sent photos of herself too, even though the actual person doing it is pretending to be a woman, but may not be a woman at all.
Most likely a guy. And, that's a whole other issue, is that they have these camps of these men that have been human trafficked.
Myanmar is like where this,
Thailand.
I read about this, yeah.
All out there. And they have these really massive camps that are, sort of maintained by armed gunmen. And the guys are kind of encouraged to come out. They're offered, free meals and work. And so these guys don't have like a life that's going so well. So
it's their full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they travel here to do this, to take this job, and then their passports are taken from them.
Yeah.
And they're
awful.
Locked in these camps. And then if they don't make certain amount of money, like for the week, then they're beaten in front of other people.
Awful what goes on.
The whole thing is just so bad.
Gross.
So anyway, so that's likely who's contacting these young guys. They're trying to keep their own life alive, right?
Yeah.
Contacting these young kids, and these kids are really susceptible. They're too young to really understand that scams happen all over the place. And if parents aren't telling them, they're very at risk. And some kids are more at risk. So ADD kids who tend to be impulsive are more at risk. Lonely kids are more at risk.
Yeah.
So kids with what we call attachment anxiety, who are afraid of like how to keep a relationship going. So they feel like they can't say no if this girl's asking for a dick pic.
Right.
So these are the ones that fall for it. There have been about 20 suicides of young boys since 2021, I believe. So so it's very real. And the thing is, I think it's hard for parents to think of their young men as sexual. And they don't want to talk. Parents are kind of like don't like having these kinds of.
We're talking about like teenage boys. Yeah.
13
or
years
preteen.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard for parents to bring this up. Like someone's going to want you to send a picture of your dick and you can't do it. But,
Right.
you basically have to say, you have to kind of explain what that is and say to your child to reach out to me if you think it's going on, or if something happened and you send a picture and you're sorry you did, let me know. I'll help you. But I also want to say to everybody that we're all scammable. Like we're all just human beings.
Moi?
Not you though.
Yeah. Good. Everybody except me.
Yeah.
I feel special.
Well, yeah. You would be
But listen. So so scams are everywhere, and there are these scams with voice clones, right? Where I heard this story, it was on public radio. This is now going back at least 2 years. And God, the technology has to be even more sophisticated now. There was an attorney who got an emergency phone call from his son. And I think it was his son's number, and the son is speaking very quickly, says, listen, it was some other country, like a third world country, and I got arrested. I was drinking last night. I hit a woman's car. Somebody got injured or killed or something like that. And they're going to throw me in prison and keep me there unless, like, you send money immediately. I got to get off the phone a minute. This is the number you have to call. And they give a number, and then he hangs up. Mm-hmm. And I think they even played. Could they? I don't remember whether I heard the message or not, but. And the father was really concerned, and he calls that number, like, let's move into action.
Right.
And this person he speaks with says, yes, we have your son. I think there's a good chance the way the legal system works here is if you pay me the money, we can pay off the judge or whatever else, and it'll probably work out okay, but you have to do it within like the next 6 hours or something. We need your money today. Okay. And the father just had a little pause, or said that he was going to do it, and eventually reaches the mother, who I don't think was right there. Maybe she was at work. And she says, Billy? What are you talking about? Billy slept over at Jimmy's house, and I just spoke to him 20 minutes ago. He's okay. Mm-hmm. And it was just a scam.
Yeah.
But it was a scam using the real voice of their kid.
Mm-hmm. It's astounding.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you say everybody is scammable, unfortunately, that probably does include me. But it's only because, so I think most people, after you've dealt with some of this stuff long enough, like many of us have like sensors that are looking at every communication. Mm-hmm. Is this real or not legit? But it's easy to understand how you could be fooled.
Absolutely. All of us. So I really believe that. And so
what's different about this is that it's not just a scam.
Yeah.
It's extortion using something sexual.
Right.
Right? So it's sexual shaming.
Yep.
Let's say they got a picture. The boy, young, it could be a young man. Doesn't have to be a boy.
Man, I mean, at any age.
Because people now, it's not unusual anymore to have new relationships that start online.
Right.
People share a photograph, and you think you know who it is that you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. And maybe the person, maybe it's a girl that the guy is talking with. Maybe she's already sent a photo of herself, like a nude.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So, and then she asks or suggests you send a dick pic, and the guy goes, well, I'm just reciprocating.
Right.
But in fact, it wasn't even a girl to begin with. It wasn't a picture of her. Whatever the nude was not...
Taken online.
It could have been AI generated for all you know, right?
Yeah.
Now, and then the guy's done it, and he's embarrassed. Now, the only thing I would say, though, is... this doesn't take away about any of the guilt or the trauma. We're in an age now where almost anything can be faked. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me that even if somebody had a picture of your own male stuff, you could say, that's not me.
Right. I think that's right.
Right. But if you're young and unsophisticated,
right.
There's a lot of shame with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just urge parents to talk to their young people about this. And also, like in our house, we have a word that if someone in our families calls us emergently and needs money, they need to say the word in order for us to take it seriously. Right. This voice cloning is happening enough that I think that would be a wise move for our listeners to have a word.
An emergency word, call it a safe word, a security word, something like that, password that's just known within the family, like this is legit. Right. So you get an emergency call, you say, what's our safe word? Yeah. If they don't know it, then it may be a fake.
Correct.
Yeah. So. I have to tell you, and not to make light of any of this, but it's got to be 25, 30 years ago. I got one of the first emails from Nigeria saying, esteemed sir, like it became a whole thing, but it wasn't. When I esteemed sir, we are our country. I am the wife of
yes.
somebody so who just died.
Curtis or something.
We have, $20 million that our government is going to take from us. We've looked you up. We've researched you. We want to park that money in your bank account until we can come to the United States or another country in Europe. And for the trouble of doing that, we're going to give you a fee and it was some large amount. And it sounded like BS, and of course these became commonplace.
Yeah.
But it was the first I'd seen of it. And I'm telling a friend who was an attorney, and he said, I'd be happy to look into this for you. I mean, he was interested. And he ended up contacting the person, had multiple phone calls.
Oh my God.
At one point says to me, I'm ready to go to Nigeria.
Oh my God. Okay, that's a great story.
And what happened, listen to this, it's not over. And what happened was that they kept nickel and diming him for small amounts, like for copying of these documents, like $100 for this, like $25. Like they wanted him to, he may even have paid one of the small amounts. And in the end, it was too much. And he reported it to, I think, the Attorney General's office in Massachusetts, which is where I was living. And they said that they had just received a couple of other calls, notifications about this. But this was the very beginning of what became a very well-known scam. So if you ever get an email that says, we want to park like $10 million in your bank account, we're going to give you $1 million to do it. Like now people just laugh at that. But there's always a new scam, and the new technologies are frightening what they can do.
And frankly, we still get that same kind of email on a fairly regular basis, right? So it must be working on someone.
Absolutely.
Which is astounding at this point that people fall for that. But
I would make a distinction. So there are scams, and then there's this extortion piece. Right. Where somebody has where the scams, you can ignore them.
Yeah.
But the other stuff is like, geez, he's got a naked picture of me and he's going to show it to my parents and post it on my school and all my friends. He's got my Facebook account or something like that. Like it's a whole other level of invasion.
They can meet these guys like in gaming platforms. Yeah. And that's another way that people develop relationships with younger people, and the younger people think that they're talking to someone their own age. So, I mean, particularly young boys, I really worry about these days. Yeah. We are not taking
it's such a dangerous world. You and I talk a lot about the dangers of porn in young people. Yeah. Right. And this is another. Yes. It's a variation on this. It's not really about sex itself. Even though it's sextortion, but it really speaks to how there is marvelous as AI and the new technologies are, how we have to be cautious. Right. And for parents, I think in particular, they got to really be careful about what their kids are doing. And, parental controls only go so far. Right.
So talk to your sons and your daughters, of course, because they are easily scammed too in other ways. And tell them to reach out to you if there's any problem. And if there is a problem, please be kind, because everybody can be conned.
I think you had an article that we were going to discuss on this topic, but I think you covered really the essence of it, right?
Yeah. It's about psychological factors leading to sextortion. It's by Sami and colleagues, and we covered it. So, if people are lonely, if they have ADD, those kinds of things.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is another episode of the Sex Doctors podcast. And we hope to see you again for the next one. Subscribe. You can find us at thesexdoctorspodcast.com. And we'll see you again, hopefully for a lighter talk. But this stuff's important.
Right.
Yeah. Bye-bye.